Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina, and I have a guest today who is a YouTuber you probably know. And if not, you check her out and give her that hit that subscribe button. So, Jessie from Jessie's Designs, welcome to my channel.
Hi, Irina. Good morning. It's so nice to be here. I'm very excited. I love your channel, the interviews. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, my pleasure. And we've been friends, like we've met in real life number of times. So it's so
Hmm.
nice to have you on my channel. It feels weird because we like usually talk in real life. So tell me a little bit, like I know about your business, I know about your designs, but tell me how it all started. Tell me about your origin story.
I have always been involved in arts and crafts. I went to a school that had every year they put the focus on a different type of art. So one year might be all painting, another year would be crochet, another year painting on fabric, porcelain, a lot of things. So I always enjoy being involved in arts and crafts. And my mother, for example, because I loved it so much, she would always say, learn as much as you can because you never know when you're going to use it. So on summer vacations, she would take me to all the classes. Even there was one that was announced in the newspaper that it was sculpting with soap. I
Oh.
even took, I never knew that existed. So I took all the classes that I could, and that was during my school time. Then I graduated from university as an early childhood educator. And in the schools that I worked with, I was always the one decorating the classrooms. There were events, theater. I was making all the props and all of that. So I would work as a teacher, and I also went to craft markets with my paintings.
Okay.
So knitting, I never met anybody who knit. None of my friends knit. Nobody in my family used to knit. Nothing. I knew nothing about knitting. I never saw knitting needles, nothing like that. But in my late 20s, my grandmother on the maternal side, she got very sick and she was bedridden. So my aunt and my mom, they thought, since she's in bed, maybe we give her something to keep her hands busy. So they got yarn and needles, but by the time they put all the supplies together, and none of them knew how to knit or anything like that, my grandmother couldn't use her hands anymore. So I went to visit and to help taking care of her. I stayed over there for about 3 months to help. And I saw all of this material and I asked what was all that about. So they told me. And I went to a place and I took knitting lessons. So my first knitting class was making a scarf.
Mhm.
And the yarn that they got was one of these texture yarns where you could not see the stitches. So I cannot say that I could see the knit stitch or the pearl stitch. So my teacher was, I knew them from before because in that store they would sell everything that is craft. So I would get my craft supplies from there. And they helped me make the scarf. I didn't know if I was making a mistake or not. Then I made a beanie. So when I got home, I would practice with my grandmother next to me, and she would touch the fabric, the yarn. And that was it. When I came home after she passed away, I never needed again until I got pregnant with my first boy. So I was like 7 months pregnant. At this time, I'm very big. I hardly fit in the car. I was mostly at home. And I thought, I need to do something. And I went to a place and I took knitting lessons about how to make baby beanies.
Mhm.
So at this point, I'm using yarn with no texture. So now I can see the pearls and the knits and all of that. So I took maybe a couple classes and then I made, I don't know how many baby beanies for my son. Then he was born, life gets busy. I didn't knit anymore until I'm pregnant with my second daughter. So that was the time when I thought, okay, I'm gonna turn my hobby into a business because up until I was pregnant with my son, I was still working here in the States as a teacher.
Right.
I quit my job and stayed home to take care of him. And then my daughter came, and I'm thinking now I really cannot do anything outside of the house. And that's when knitting became my business.
Well, you know what I love about, like, I've been watching your YouTube channel, sort of binge watching lately.
Uh-huh.
And I love, like, when you talk about Colombia, when you talk about growing up in Colombia, first of all, I love your positivity. I love you're like, you can sense the love for the family and how important the family is, and not
Hmm.
just for your kids, but for like all your extended family, your relatives, even your father-in-law. And we'll get back to your father-in-law. Actually, I want to talk about him as well.
Hmm.
But like, you can see how important the family is to you, but also like, oh my God, that school sounds incredible. And I saw in your video about Colombia that they were teaching you dancing, like folk dancing as well, right? In the school. Like, I mean,
Yes.
like dream come true for as far as school goes. Like, I wish I went to a school like this.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was not good at dance lessons.
Yeah, but you know what? The fact that you like, I love doing this and I love
Yes.
costumes, and I was probably the worst student, but I still love doing it.
Yes.
Like, that's the spirit, that's the
Hmm.
spirit to approach anything in life. Like, you don't have to be the best at that as long as it brings you joy.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly
feel
what
like
I
as
think.
adults, we sometimes use that sense of like just pure joy from what you're doing, right? You don't have
Hmm.
to be the best painter. You don't have to be the best knitter to just enjoy the process. So I love that about you and your videos. I feel like you guys have to go and check up Jesse's channel, because if you need that boost of positivity in today's gloomy world, every episode that you post brings smile to my face. So I love
Oh.
about your channel.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure that you have seen the growth in the quality of the videos because I started during COVID. Because that time, especially the first few months, there were so many free courses
Right.
about everything. So my son, he makes music and all of that. He was 11, and there was a course about music production and video production. So he took it and he needed to practice. So he said, Mom, I think you need to open your YouTube channel. And I'm like, there is no way that I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to forget my English. My grammar is going to be all over the place. And he insisted so much. So it's been a learning curve for both of us. So my son is the one that up to this day, he edits my videos. So I know your son, he taught you how to do it. My son has tried to teach me, and it's one of those things that, oh, you do this and then you go here and then you go here, and I get so lost.
It's so
So
funny because it was one of my questions. Because I always, when I invite new guests and they have YouTube channel, the first thing I do, I go to the very first episode, because I'm always
mhm,
curious about how it started, right? And when I went to your first episode,
mhm.
what struck me as very like unusual was the quality of that video and the amount of like some funky music in there.
Yeah.
There was like definite like editing skills, and I was like, how did Jesse learn all of that so fast, so now we know.
Sometimes my son and I go back to those first videos and he's like, Mom, I made you look so childish. But we just laugh and laugh. And it's great because in that time especially, we had so many opportunities to laugh, to learn together. And the only thing I do for my videos, and this is being completely transparent, is that I sit in front of the computer and I shorten the parts where I make mistakes, but he's the one that adds the pictures and the letters and all of that. And then at the end on YouTube, I do the subtitles and, things like that. But it's like it's over me how to put everything together on a video. So I love working with him because now he's 15. And,
Right.
when they get to be teenagers, they want to do more things on their own. So I love the fact that up to this day, we look forward. Okay, Mom, when is your next video? I have, these days I can edit it and things like that. So I love the fact that we still get to work together and enjoy it.
And he feels like he's part of Jesse's design.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Jesse Designs team. I mean,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about how you got the confidence and courage to announce to the world that you're now a designer, because it's one thing to go to the class and learn how to make a baby beanie, but
Mm-hmm.
to actually start selling your finished products and your designs, how did that journey go for you?
Well, it was quite interesting because I would make a lot of things for my friends. And after I graduated from baby beanies, I would make scarves. So I always thought that a scarf is as long as the ball of yarn. So my friends who got my scarves at the beginning, they were like extra long. So they would put it around the head like three, four times, and they still have those scarves. But I think I love to learn. I mean, I have always loved to learn. I love beauty. I love coldness. I love doing things that bring me joy in the day because, you know, when you have children, life is busy. If you're married, life is busy. Dealing with family, you know, there is a lot of drama here and there. So knitting to me became something that grounded me. My husband and my son, they built for me the studio before my daughter was born. And this is my space where I just relax. So up to this day, I carry that feeling with me. Somebody sees my designs or my Instagram feed, I hope that they feel a sense of calm. So when I started learning different techniques, I just thought, you know, it's time to put something out there. The first cowl that I put out, and this is very, I'm gonna say super humbly, I wrote the pattern down and I call, as all designers do for testers, I had about 5 girls. One of them is still a friend. And she wrote me and she said, Yessy, this doesn't make sense. Like I'm putting it, I'm knitting it, and it doesn't look like what you wrote. And I'm like, but what are you talking about? So when I released my first pattern, and this is how I think, I don't know if it was adventurous, I don't know if to call, how to call it, but I was determined to have my first pattern out there. I didn't know that in the knitting instructions, you had to put, this is what you do on the right side, and this is what you do on the wrong side. So for me, all the 8 rows in that pattern were all on the right side when it was not like that. So my testers, they helped me put that pattern together. So every time I release a pattern, I rely on my testers a lot because it's that humble place where they take you, where, hey, there is a mistake here, there is a mistake there, and we all have a good time and learn about it. So now, after many years, it's different than at the beginning. But I loved it. I love to write too. So the time when it's writing patterns, I really enjoy all that computer work, putting the pictures, what is the layout. I on the side write children's stories. So hopefully at some point there is going to be a children's book and other things that I'm writing. So I have different files where I love to write. So that's, I don't know, that's how I started. And at the beginning too, because I really wanted to try to have knitting as a business, I didn't know where to put my work. So I knew the markets where I went with my paintings, but I didn't know where to go with my knitting. So at the time we had the white pages,
Mhm.
and I went through all the newborn photographers in Connecticut, where I live. And I called them all. I would say, oh, is it possible to speak to the photographer? I didn't want to talk to the assistants. So they would call me and I say, listen, I would explain my situation. I'm knitting. I know how to make baby beanies, baby pants, bonnets. Is it possible that I sent you some of my pieces in exchange for beautiful photographs that I could share on my Instagram? All of them said yes. One of them became the photographer for my daughter. And that gave me more confidence to put myself out there, enough to get photography lessons about how to take pictures, photography. So I took many lessons and now I take my own pictures. I taught my husband, I taught my kids how to take my pictures and the different angles and where to put myself for the work and things like that. So it became a family thing. So to put myself out there, I was ready for, you know, things to go very well or for things to go wrong, but I still enjoyed what I was doing. So I just left it there. Let's see where this is gonna take me. And it's been almost 14 years since I started that journey.
I feel like it's very inspiring to others. It's very inspiring to me because, we as women, we always doubt ourselves. What do we know? Like, we're not professionals. That's not something I learned in university. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who are better at this. And the fact that you had that courage to just like put yourself out there, make yourself look silly, and just like
Yes.
for the best, I admire that. I think it's like a great quality to have. And I think like we all sort of, what I like about the knitting community, that we all give this courage and this opportunities to each other. And this is like the way you think, it's a little bit outside of the box because you didn't think about who can I sell it. You thought how I can collaborate. And sometimes the
Mm-hmm.
collaborative things, like, they, first of all, they work the best, and also, like, you don't know where it's going to take you. You see, like, you discovered the whole world of photography through that phone call through the white book, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you didn't think about it. It wasn't a plan. Like, I often ask my guests, like, so did you have a business plan? Did you know what you were trying to do? But like, when I'm looking at my journey, I did not have a business plan. I didn't start because I wanted certain goals, like to achieve certain goals. I just started like from the place of like, what if, you know?
Yes, and this can be a very lonely business too. So I really look for ways to be with other people. So in the last few years, I'm working with a local shop, and recently I started with another one. And every time I go to Colombia, and maybe you have seen that in the videos, we have the Wayu community there. So there is specifically one lady that I see every time we go because my family has a property at a beach, and she sells her pieces at the beach. So every
She's
time,
the one who makes the bags.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so every time we go, I call her and she comes to our tent at the beach and she brings her pieces. And she talks about how is her business there, her handmade business, which allows her to take her daughter to nursing school, which to me is mind blowing that from selling this work, you can send your daughter to university. But she talks to me about the pieces. I always bring a few to give to my family. I get one for my daughter, and I bring at least a couple to half of my markets because that's my opportunity to explain. Because every time I go to a market, which I love markets, but I don't do many in the year because of life being busy. When I start talking, the first question people ask is, "Where is your accent? Where are you from?" So when I start talking about my background, I include that right away. So people, they love to talk about it. They have never heard about these communities. They have never seen the work, and they start asking, "How do they make this? How do they make that?" So it's a great opportunity for me to speak about my background because a lot of people is not going to go to Colombia.
Right.
So for me to share, it's maybe you hear this and you hear that, but look, every time I go, I try to show as much as I can. And I love to take my kids. My kids love to go there. They cry every time we have to come back. And then it's a time of adjustment from all the noise and the music and all the events that happen every day in the city to being here on top of a hill in the forest in
Right.
silence. So it's always an adjustment, but I'm glad that they love it. Both of them speak Spanish, not fluently, but enough. And for me, it's very nice, and I really love to share also my knitting work, my background in my knitting work. So a lot of my Fair Isle designs are Colombian inspired. So necessarily they are not the most popular, but I am so thankful that yarn companies approach me and they say, we are going to release this yarn, or would it be possible for you to use this yarn? Could you make a design inspired by your background? So I feel very blessed. Like I always say yes.
Well,
Um,
how do you think Colombia inspires you? In what sense? Like in colors, in the motifs that you use in your stranded knitting? Like what do you think the influence?
Number one, the attitude. We are the kind of people that we go for it. We are all in, and it might work, it might not work, but we give it our best. That's the same attitude that I have today after many years, even if the pattern doesn't do that great or whatever the case is. And second, we were surrounded by art. So not just from the YUs, like we all, and that's an example of my school, we all love arts, colors. I have an aunt that is a jewelry designer. And up to this day, that's her business. She used to make a lot of different things, and I would go with her. And you are going in the streets and you see people selling their art in different places. When you go to the touristic areas, you see all the different kinds of things. It can be from basket making, jewelry, paintings, illustrations, to things as intricate as the crochet work from the Wayus. So it's impossible not to feel artistic when you are there because it surrounds you. And one of the other things is that when you are, for example, in my city, in Barranquilla, the arts are very supported. So right now there is something called Club de Tejedoras, which is almost 1,000 women from around the city. And they meet every week in different locations, public locations, and they sit in there and they crochet. They might be experts, they might know nothing about it. So people is welcome to just sit down and, okay, who can teach me how to crochet? So the sense of community is very, very strong
Right.
over there. So all of that, I try to bring it with me. So if you notice, when I put these videos, and we just came back from Colombia, that's when my fair IO work gets a spike. And then I'm back to cables and lace and things like that. Because it's impossible not to feel inspired by everything that is around you.
You work a lot with different yarn companies. And when I was watching you going to Colombia, you went to some yarn store and you were trying to find Colombian yarn and you had hard time there.
Mhm.
Tell me about your journey with yarn in the US. Like how did your taste change? Did you become a yarn snob?
No, not at all. In Colombia, I haven't bought a skein of yarn since I learned because all the yarns are brought from other places. So I wanted to support a local mill, a local farm, because there are many farms, there are many sheep, and there are many alpacas and all of that. But sadly, when I call all of these places and I visited some, they say we export all of our yarn. We don't have anything in Colombia. So I
Interesting.
haven't found these fibers in there. So they have a lot of acrylics, cottons, things like that. I have never became a yarn snob. I work as a maker with Blue Sky Fibers. It's been a few years, so I love working with them. The quality is amazing. But I have a daughter who's very sensitive to fibers. So I use a lot of acrylics for her. There are some merino wools where she doesn't have any reactions. So I never became a yarn snob at all. And especially when I go to these communities and that's why they have to work acrylics and cottons, I mean, there is nothing in me that says, oh, you're working with cheap yarn. No, because what it makes, all of these fibers, what they make is beautiful. All the crochet bags from the YUs, they are acrylics or cottons. So there is so much beauty in the use of this fiber that I would never look down on anything like that. I would never say, okay, Irina, in my stash, I just have merinos or mohair. I have everything in there.
Yeah, I just finished this shawl with like the cheapest skein of hobby yarn, but it brought me so
Oh.
much joy to like knit with it because of the colors. Somehow they changed. So
No, I also have some hobby here. Look at this.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like I haven't really met the yarn that I don't like. Like I just
Mhm,
like it's such a treat to have anything that it's all interesting. Plus, like when you talk about Colombia, and I wasn't trying to snob the yarns of Colombia because I saw they had some very beautiful selection there as well. But even if it's imported, but whatever, right? There is
mhm,
choice there. But the thing is, like, you also have to keep in mind the climate because it's so
mhm.
hot in there that they can't really use merino there much. It's more the climate for cotton.
Yes, they use because when I go to these meetings with the crochet club from the city and I get the interviews in there, they have never made a garment, a lot of them. And they made accessories. So they can make maybe a bandana, one of the things that you put on your hip. I forgot the name of them, like Shakira.
Right.
A lot of it's called something about Shakira. So they make bags, garments. They don't make that much.
Yeah,
Not even if it's
probably
cotton
like
because
bathing suits, right? Like the covers, beach cover
yes,
kind of.
yes, but it's mostly accessories. So because the crochet community is so valued in there, a lot of the fashion designers, they go to these communities and they say, okay, we need bags to go with these dresses for our next collection and things like that. So it's mostly that maybe in the colder areas they can make more garments, but not in my name on the beach.
Right.
So I think it's just too much.
Well, when you do makers markets, is it frustrating that you don't feel the same sense of appreciation and people start questioning why is it so expensive and they can get something cheaper in Target and stuff like that?
Well, I have had a few comments through the years from this is too expensive to I don't want to be that grandmother that gives away ugly knits.
Oh
So
my God.
I laugh. So I think I am thankful that I don't get bitter by those comments because I live in an area where handmade it's value. So in these two shops where I am, people go there and they know that everything in there in those shops are handmade. So yes, maybe they go to Target, TJ Maxx or whatever, but they see the value. So I just to put everything in a nutshell, I don't have many of my knits, here waiting to go somewhere. Like I take them and then it's Jesse, can you make some more? And things like that. People they really like it. So I think there is people for everything. Maybe they just splurge in one beanie and they have 10 other ones from another place. But I love when something goes away. So that's what I like markets because that's my only chance to meet the people and to talk about the work. It's like my little sense of community, not being with the other vendors, but to meet the people. So a lot of people, they really want to know, what is this fiber? Is it itchy? Can I try it on? Or when do you make it? Things like that. So it's very refreshing when I go to markets.
You know what else I love? I love giving gifts to knitters because they can truly appreciate the amount of work that went into something. So
Mhm.
recently, I gifted a shawl that took me a while, and it was like lace weight,
The
more
pink one?
the pink one.
I saw.
Give it to my friend Anu, who is the owner of the
Oh.
Unruly Stitch. And she was sitting there. First of all, she was like covered in it. And she was sitting and looking at the crocheted bind off. And she was like, look at this bind off. And she was like studying the details. And it's such an ultimate joy to see like another person like truly appreciate the labor that went into this, making of something.
It's true. I mean, you made that show at home and your audience is your family.
Right.
But then when you have it out there and then somebody else knows, oh, this is really, it took some work,
Right.
like what you say with the bind off and all of that. It's nice to see that too.
Well, I mentioned at the beginning of the interview that I want to talk about your father-in-law. And one of the reasons is that you recently published the sweater pattern that used to be the baby pattern, but now it's adult pattern. And it's named after his
His
farm.
farm.
So tell my viewers this story because I found it so touching and your connection with your needs.
Yes, I mean, before I say his story, a lot of the names of my patterns are either somebody that I love, or a place that has some meaning for me. I cannot say to you, Irina, for example, I'm going to release this hat because I want people to learn how to work lace. Or I'm going to release this pattern because I want them to get used to working with 3 or 4 colors in Fair Isle. To me, knitting has to have some meaning. Like every pattern has to have a meaning behind it because otherwise I don't feel the joy of making it. I don't want my work to feel like work.
Right.
I still up to this day want to enjoy it. So with this pattern, my father-in-law just passed away when I was working on it. So he was a very, very nice man. Like if you think about a father-in-law, like an ideal father-in-law, it was him. He was like that grandpa. He treated me always like a daughter from day one. So living in the city myself, I never planted anything. I don't, I can tell you embarrassing stories. I knew nothing about planting. So when I met my husband, and he was living in Canada at the time, I moved to Canada and we had a little garden. I had a friend who tried to teach me, I didn't learn. And then when we moved here, our property is pretty big. So my father-in-law, he would come here and teach me. This is how you plant. You make a hole with this. He would use his hands a lot, a machete. So my neighbors at the beginning were like, there is a man outside with a machete. And I'm like, don't worry. Don't worry, he's gonna be cutting something to plant something in there. It was quite the sight when he first started to come here. So I would be with him and giving him coffee, tea, beer, whatever he wanted, because once he was outside, he wouldn't come in until he was done. So I would be out with him a lot. That was even before kids, where I would be laying next to him and he would teach me, Yessy, this is how you do this. You don't want to plant in here because you see this soil is too hard. You want to go here. This is the trees and blah, blah, blah. So when my husband was here, like the days he wasn't working, that felt like vacation for my husband. They would be the two of them outside. And up to this day, after my father-in-law passed away, my husband finds it very hard to be outside doing all the gardening work by himself. So last year I said to him, I'm going to help you. Like I couldn't bear seeing him so sad working in the gardens. I'm going to help you. So I helped him the first day and I got a take, went to the hospital and then said, listen, I really had the best intentions, but that's it. I'm not going to help you anymore. I'm just going to do everything that is like around the house, but not like close to the forest. So my father-in-law became very special, not just on the way he treated us, but the meaning of being here in this home. Like everywhere I look, it's something, there is something that he did everywhere. So his passing was very hard on us. And my husband, growing up in Ecuador, he would go to my grandfather-in-law's farm. So the farm was in a place called Milagros, where he had cocoa beans, plantains, all kinds of vegetables. And my husband's summer vacation was going to that farm for however vacation months he had and cultivate and harvest. So it was just the two of them, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they would stay in the city. And my husband, he was there with his dad, spending all the time at the farm. So during COVID, when we needed, the distraction and when we were welcoming all these new things that were happening, again, mentioning all of these free classes that were out there. I took a class with a designer that I met on Instagram, Cecilia from Mama Do It Yourself. And I saw this class advertise how to design your first sweater. Up to this day, I never thought that I was going to design any sweater. I love making accessories and designing accessories. That's my passion, the accessories. But I was welcoming the idea of, okay, let's see if I can do this. Again, I went all in, not knowing if whatever I was going to make was going to end up looking like it should be. So it was really nice because it was challenging from the beginning how to design a yoke and how to take the measurements, something that I never did, the proper way to take the measurements, and then taking your swatch, blocking it, and that's how you're going to start seeing how many stitches you need for the bust. And to me, everything was so foreign. But I was so excited to learn about this. So when I designed that, we all had to design something. So when I saw that my design from the paper and all the math that got involved really looked so pretty, then I thought, okay, now it's time for me to continue. So I started with my daughter. And when it was time to name the pattern, the sweater that I made for her, which is a very easy top raglan sweater, that was the first name that came to my mind. We recently lost him, and it was a very small way to honor the story, his history, the history that he made with my husband, and everything that he taught us here. He was a great grandfather as well. So I knew that I wanted to make, for example, a sweater for the whole family. I still don't know how to design for men. I'm not there yet. Just little children and women. That's where I am right now. So I knew I wanted to make something for women as well. So it's been a journey. It's been a few years from the Milagros in the child version to the women, which also says that I don't rush things. One of the things that my father-in-law used to say, because at some point I would say, it's time for you to come in. You have been there for so long. What are the neighbors going to think that I have you working in there for the whole day? And he would say, no, the calm person wins the battle.
I
And
love.
he would sit down outside, and if he was there, he would sit, and I would go out, and if I wasn't outside already. And he said, we always do things calmly. There is no rush. Why are we adding rush and drama to our life? We don't want to get sick from the drama. So these are things that he would say through his life. And I have never felt, for example, that I have to rush anything. I mean, I'm not gonna get better by rushing.
Right.
So I just release a few patterns a year. And when I release it, I don't have the pressure of, is this pattern gonna do well? It's been this many days and it's like hardly selling. It's something that I put out there for the joy of making. And that's it. For the joy of others making it and me.
I also like we talked briefly before we started this interview about the pattern sales and YouTube. And I feel like patterns is like this, it's your portfolio, right? It's always there. People can discover it 10 years from now. And because it's a slow fashion, it's probably still gonna be in fashion. Like
Hmm.
it's these timeless classics that people can discover at their own time. So if something didn't sell immediately, it doesn't mean that like it cannot be discovered a little bit later.
It's true. It's true. And I see that most of my popular patterns, they are not the newest ones. They have been there for years. And I'm also a maker. So I'm not here in the studio just designing. I love to make. So if you see my Instagram, for example, I make a lot of my Magdalena beanies and a lot. And sometimes I think, oh, people is gonna be bored to see another Magdalena beanie, but I just love it. So I might get a yarn and I say, a Magdalena beanie would look beautiful in that yarn, and I make it. So I don't rush, not even my own work. And yes, people can find you today in so many ways through YouTube. Somebody else that would say, "Oh, I'm making this pattern," and then you have another audience. So I think it's more important the quality of the work than the amount, which I don't know if it's a good business model. I don't even know if I have a business model. I just love what I do, and I hope that I bring enough for the things that we need at home and to support my family back in Colombia. But I always say, if we don't enjoy what we do, I mean, nothing is gonna look pretty, or you're gonna feel that this is not me. To me, art, knitting, it's an extension of yourself. So I don't feel comfortable putting something out there that I'm not happy with or that I didn't enjoy making. So it's I don't know if this is gonna work in the long run, but so far I'm doing good.
Well, let's talk about your design process. Like how is pattern born? Like, do you go for a walk and come up with some design idea? Do you look at the yarn and think this yarn is asking to be that? Like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, pretty much?
Well, that depends. If, like I mentioned before, if I go to Colombia, I come back with all of these ideas of fair isle design. So I have and I have a daughter that is very artistic. So I have a lot of markers and different kinds of pens and all of that. So I have sketchbooks and I start drawing. So I might draw an infinity scarf with motifs and then translate that into a beanie or something. I draw a lot. I have a lot of paper. I have the desk here that you don't see is like a nail shape, and at the bottom is all of these containers full of paper and designs. So I like to draw a lot and different colors. But again, with Colombia, for example, and the cable work, like talking about the Magdalena beanie again, I think of the river, and then I have a lot of books, knitting books, and then I look for what cable kind of resembles or reminds me of that, and then I add that. So it's my designing work. It can, I mean, some days I don't feel like designing anything, and some days it's like I have this burst of color, and I put everything out there in my notebooks. I put everything out there when inspiration comes, and then decide, okay, what yarns would I like to work with, and then everything little by little starts to come to life.
Well, you do a lot of different things. Like I'm watching you a little bit in awe from the sidewalks, right? There is Instagram, there is TikTok, there is YouTube, there is Etsy, there is markets. There, I mean, you have a blog. Like there is so many things going on. How do you balance it, and how do you not let it stress you?
Well, it's a busy schedule. I homeschool my daughter. My son goes to public. He's a senior, and we do a lot of volunteer work. So to balance my knitting, it has to be after I'm done with everything. I mean, I cannot knit. Okay, my daughter is not doing something, so let me squeeze 10 minutes of knitting or something. Usually, if my daughter has a quiz or a test that is gonna take a while, then I would use that time to knit. But since she loves to crochet and draw and she loves so many things, we craft together. So we use that time alone. And also the housework has to be done, everything. I cannot work in chaos. So I have everything as organized as I can so I can just enjoy what I am working on. So I try to do everything in the day early. My son, he's old enough that when he comes back home, I just have food ready, everything that he needs is there, and he does his work. He doesn't need me too much anymore. My daughter, she needs me more than him. So my knitting comes later in the day usually, or if I'm awake early, I might be knitting before everybody wakes up. But it has to be calm after the most important things have been taken care of.
Right.
And I have my laundry room like right in front of me, so my laundry can be made when I'm knitting. And everybody folds their own clothes and all of that. So for me, it has to be a time in a day when I feel relaxed.
Well, you mention all the time in your YouTube vlog that you spend a lot of time as a family. You go for walks, you go on the lake, you go travel together. Um, do you like, is your family supportive of your career? Do they ever say, "Oh, mom, like, what are you doing? You could have done this or that," or are
Mm-mm.
they your team of cheerleaders?
No, they are my biggest cheerleaders. Sometimes, this is not the most lucrative work. Um, And when I first started knitting as a business, my family, they were in shock. Like my family back home, they were in shock. Like, what are you doing? You have a degree and you have been working. What are you doing? But time has passed and they have changed. My family, on the other hand, they absolutely know the reasons why I started doing this, and they are all in as well. Again, my son, he edits my videos. My daughter, like for example, if I'm here, and I said, and I call her and I say, hey, can you help me taking a video or a picture? And she brings, um, you know, this thing for pictures and things like that. She holds it. And she is always asking, what are you doing? If I'm drawing, she's drawing next to me. My husband, I would say, for example, what is your schedule? Because he works from home a few days and the other days he works in the city, New York. And he would say, no, what do you need? And I say, I need final pictures. Okay, where do you want them? So I have, all my neighbors know what I do. I mean, we don't have many houses here, but they know what I do. So I have this neighbor that has a beautiful property and it's very big. So I would call her and I say, hey, can I take some pictures by your stone wall? Can I take these pictures in front of your house or something? And they all know, like all my neighbors are, do you need something? And it's great. So my husband, he takes my pictures, and because I'm dressed up for final pictures or something, he says, okay, well, why don't we just go for coffee or go for lunch? Like you cannot go back to the house full of makeup and everything to cook. So they love, see, I think they like to see me happy, because I'm the type of mother that I love to do things with them and for them. So when I ask for something, can you help me with a picture? Or my son, he would say, when he was younger, I don't want my face to be shown, and I would respect that. Now he's like, I released a pattern that it's called the Canterbury cowl. So he saw it and he loved it, and I said, I need final pictures, and he's like, you know what? Take pictures of me and show my face. I'm okay. Just show it. So they know everything, what I'm doing. They know every single thing because I'm in the middle of their rooms too. So they come back and they see, what do you need? Do you have a snack? Do you have some tea? So my husband, he just got me a couple days ago. I don't know how you call this thing, but it's like a kettle
Mhm.
that I can just connect and it boils the water right away. And they got me tea. Everybody has their cup in here. So when they come to talk, they get their cup of tea as well.
So sweet.
So I think they like to see mom happy. When a mom is happy, everything else is done
Right.
better. The
Well,
whole,
one of the things that I saw you share in your video about Colombia was how they make coffee. And you said your son was interested in
yes.
taking barista class after that. Have you tried making real Colombian coffee at home after that?
No, I don't have the equipment to do it, but I get a lot of Colombian coffee. So we have a brand that we like from here, but every time I come across um, a coffee that is 100% Colombian, I get it. But when I go to Colombia, I bring the coffee from Juan Valdez. So I bring as much coffee as I can. And if I happen to be there and my son is here, I know exactly what to get. I get
Colombia,
it.
Colombia has amazing food. So
Yes.
when you think of Colombia, when you think about like childhood or something, like some memory that you're nostalgic to try something, what comes to mind when it comes to food?
Family together. It's family together. We have a friend who has been with my mom for over 30 years. So she works in my mom's apartment cooking, and her cooking is just so amazing. So she lives with my mom and she worked with families from the Lebanon, for example. So for us, it was amazing to see, for example, a Colombian dish being made with the influence of another culture. So she would be so proud of making all of these foods, and it's a lot of food, a lot of food. So if we knew that she was making something, we would call everybody, hey, we have enough for everybody to come and have lunch. So food meant togetherness. That was the thing. Every weekend we would go to my grandmother's house, the one who passed away, and she would cook a lot. And all of us cousins, it didn't matter if we were teenagers and wanted to be with our friends. Every Saturday and Sunday, we would be there because she cooked and we had to stay there. And it was amazing.
Well, let's talk about your vision for the future. So you said you don't know if you have the business plan, but like, it's the end of the year.
Yes.
People start thinking about New Year resolutions, New Year plans. How do you envision next year? What can we expect from Jesse's designs?
I want to be with more people. So the second place that I'm working with, one of the local shops, which is like an hour away from me, it's a new place. So I think this year for me meant risks. So I'm still working with one local shop, and this one, the new one, it just started about 3 months ago. So the owners approached me, and it's like, okay, we don't know if this is gonna work, but let's support you. So I think for next year, I wanna have more sense of community. So thankfully, in this place, there are rooms where you can be with people and you can go there. So I did already an event where I'm knitting. Some of my pieces are there, patterns, and people, I wanted to try it out, and people started to come and ask and things like that. So I would like to start giving classes. So I have been giving classes here and there, but not really as something permanent. So my goal is to have classes next year and use that also as like art class for my daughter for her homeschooling as well. So that's the plan. And besides that, I just want to keep knitting what I feel like knitting and supporting as many designers as I can. So for example, if I see your shawl in there, I would ask you, is that knitting or crochet? Let's say, and then I would say, okay, I think I want to knit that. And I would knit
I'll
it.
send you the
So
pattern as soon as it's out.
well, good. So I will be making it because I was looking at it when we were first started talking, and it's really beautiful. So I don't limit myself of I'm just gonna do my own work and I just want to show myself. I love to support other people. The reason why I work with different yarn companies, and some of the people that I work with are just women that are in their home dyeing yarn. Jesse, what would you like? Some of them have said, "Hey, I saw your picture from Colombia." Like one of them said, "I would like to make like a sunset. Can I do it?" Yes, of course. So I love to support as many people as I can if it's along with, let's say, my tastes or my values or my vision, things like that. But I always look for ways to work with other people.
Well, I'm so glad we got to chat together. I love inviting other YouTubers because I get to learn, and other designers also, because I get to learn some insights, about how your mind works, and it feels more like camaraderie to me. So I'm happy that we got to chat on my channel. So thank you so very much for being my guest today. And I hope I'm going to get to see you sometime very soon at one of the festivals.
Oh, that will be great, Irina. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you again. I saw you just at Rhinebeck this year, so it's nice to have you again. I love your work and your channel. I love the content of your channel too. So thank you for thinking of me and having me here today.
Thank you.